After dusting the captain with flour, the giant wrapped him tightly in thick pastry dough, turning him into what looked like a giant meat roll. Without hesitation, he placed him carefully inside a heavy iron cage nearby, as if saving him for later. The princess stood frozen in fear, her eyes wide, unable to look away from the horrifying scene unfolding before her. The giant ignored her completely and calmly returned to preparing his meal, humming to himself as he sorted through strange ingredients. The princess realized with growing dread that she would be next. Just as panic began to overwhelm her, something unexpected happened. She spotted Jack quietly sneaking into the room. He moved slowly and carefully, staying in the shadows while the giant stood distracted, debating what seasonings to use. Seeing her chance, the princess signaled to Jack. He quickly crept over to the iron cage and tried everything he could to open it. He pulled, pushed, and struggled with all his strength, but the cage was far too heavy. Realizing he couldn't free her in time, the princess urgently whispered for him to save the captain first. Without wasting a second, Jack rushed to the captain and began cutting through the thick pastry using his dagger. Every second mattered, but just as he was about to finish, the giant suddenly turned around, carrying his ingredients. Thinking fast, Jack shoved the dagger into the captain's hand and quickly hid behind a barrel. The giant approached, grabbed a long wooden skewer, and brutally drove it straight into the meat roll. Moments earlier, the pig's squealing had filled the room, but now, everything fell silent. Miraculously, the skewer missed the captain by inches. He had barely survived. The giant, unaware of what almost happened, slid the meat roll into the oven to roast. Flames flickered as the heat began to rise. Taking advantage of the distraction, Jack climbed a nearby rope and silently made his way up to a rack filled with large knives. Below him, the giant continued chopping garnishes, completely unaware of the danger above. Then, the moment came. The giant pulled the princess out of the cage and threw her onto the cutting board. She struggled, terrified, knowing this could be her end. At that exact moment, Jack grabbed a knife. As the giant raised his hand to strike, Jack leapt down from above and plunged the blade deep into the giant's back. The giant roared in pain, letting out a thunderous scream as he thrashed wildly. He tried desperately to reach the knife, but Jack held on tightly, refusing to let go. Driven mad by pain, the giant stumbled and crashed around the room, smashing into everything in sight, until finally, he slammed hard into the wall with a massive impact.